Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a story time. I've shared a little bit about what it was like being homeless when I was using. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more. There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened and it was definitely a struggle. I know there's a lot of people out there that are struggling, that are homeless, that aren't addicts too. So maybe somebody can get some encouragement from my story. I was always on edge, always, daytime, nighttime. Even when I was in a relationship, we were always arguing. So I ended up being alone most of the day. I remember one time me and my ex got in an argument. I didn't even know where we were. We were out in the woods somewhere driving, going to one of his friend's house. We get in an argument and he literally kicks me out of his car and I'm walking through the woods down the road. I didn't even know who to call. I was living in another state. The only person I really knew was him. I had met his friends. Out of all his friends, only one of them ended up being like a decent person. But even with that friend, I couldn't call him every time I had a problem with my ex. We would argue, crazy stuff would happen, and then I would just be stranded somewhere. And that would happen often. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a license, I didn't have anything but, like I've mentioned before, just a duffel bag of whatever I had at the time. And that would get stolen. I would have to get a new bag, get clothes. I remember one time I tried to get a job while I was homeless, and I worked for one day. Before I started the job, I needed a work uniform and I didn't have any money. So I went to Goodwill and asked them if they could help me with clothes, and they said I could get one outfit or I would have to work a shift, like volunteer. Then they would let me look through their clothes. But I had told them I had a job, I just needed help with clothes. I wouldn't be able to do both. I couldn't volunteer and work. They let me pick one outfit out. I got my work uniform. I go to work and my ex, it's so embarrassing. My ex came into the job, started arguing with me. So of course that job didn't last. But I just remember the fear I had. Where am I going to sleep to go to work? How am I going to shower? It's hard to stay presentable when you have nowhere to shower or you have no clothes or you can't wash your clothes or keep up with your clothes. And yeah, you can try to go to gas stations and stuff. Where I was, everything was so spread out and walking everywhere. And when I look back at that now, I don't know how I did that. I could never do that now. I would be so scared to do that now. Because anything can happen to you, especially when you're not coherent. You wouldn't even notice it coming. So I struggled a lot. I lived like that. I was homeless before I met my ex. I was living in hotels. I had like a restaurant job here, a club here, just doing, a day here, a week there, whatever, making money, staying at hotels or like the extended stays. And then that didn't work anymore. I couldn't afford it anymore. It just got worse and worse. It was definitely a scary life to live. I had a lot of crazy situations happen. There were a lot of times that I don't know how I made it through the night or stayed alive. I don't know how I managed to get out of situations. It's just crazy, you guys. I've had a lot of people ask me about food, like how were you able to feed yourself? I honestly didn't eat that often. If I did, it was like a little snack. And it's funny because jail commissary food is the same stuff that I was pretty much eating before I went to jail. Like gas station food or the dollar menu. Either a Burger King or like McDonald's was always by the hotels, Motel 6 or extended stay or like the trap motels. I would go and get, I don't know how many times I ate those dollar ice cream cones from Burger King. I would get like the dollar chicken nuggets, chicken sandwich, just something like that just to hold me over. And I would just eat that one thing all day and that would be it. So food, I didn't really think about food. I wasn't planning meals or anything like that. It was just, okay, do I have an extra dollar or can I get a dollar or whatever? And then I would get something if I was hungry. And sometimes I couldn't eat when I was hungry because I didn't have enough money. So you just drink water or do what you got to do to get through it. I would sleep in the car often. And you guys, I just remember he would be so sketched out. And for a long time, we were doing different things. He was up and I was down. Dealing with someone that was up all the time and we're in the car, I'm trying to sleep and he was up like paranoid, trying to cover the windows or looking out the windows and looking at the lights and just in and out of the car, running around. He was always on edge stressing, and it made it 10 times worse for me. So there was barely any sleep. I've slept outside. I remember if there was a tent or a tarp or just anything you could put over two branches or put some branches together. I remember one time it rained and we were out in the woods. I don't know why we walked in the woods all the time. Where I was staying with my ex, it was kind of country out there, but the woods, everybody was outside in the woods all the time. It was almost like everybody was zombies or something. It was a country town, and I'm pretty sure that town was known for math, if you know what I'm saying. I think people were making it there. There were a lot of people out and about wandering everywhere. If we ran into someone in the woods, we would be like, hey, my ex knew everybody because everybody grew up in the same town. But I just remember one evening time, it started pouring down rain, and me and my ex had ran into one of his friends in the woods, and we didn't know where to go. We didn't know where to like hide so we wouldn't be soaking wet. And I remember us walking, I don't remember how long we walked, to try to find somewhere just to get underneath. When we finally found something to get under, it was all soaking wet. We were all soaking wet, just sitting there trying to wait for the rain to stop. Like, it was just horrible. I don't know how I did all that. Like, looking back, and sometimes I feel like it was a dream, you know? Like, I know that I did it. I know I did those things. I know I lived that life. But at the same time, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I made it through that. Being homeless is very stressful. I feel for anybody that is going through that, whether they're addicts or not, because you're always stressed out. You're always worrying about your safety, how you're going to eat, how you're going to survive. There's no like, you can't just sit and relax for 5 minutes. You just can't. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you just get a job? It's not that easy to just go get a job. Like I had mentioned, having work clothes, being presentable, having transportation. If you don't have anywhere to sleep that's close to your job, how are you going to get there every day? You can't just sleep out back. Trust me, I've tried. I knew a guy that had to do that at my old job. One of my old jobs, our manager let him sleep out back. He had lost his place and he couldn't pay for it until he got paid again. It was like an extended stay. And they let him sleep out back because it was fenced in. But he had been with the company for a long time. These people are not going to hire you on and be like, oh yeah, you can just shower in the bathroom and sleep out back. And they're not going to do that. I understand they don't have to do that, and they're not going to do that. So there's a lot of factors that play in. Mental health, physical health. And I've had people say, well, just go get food stamps. Go get this, go get that. You have to have a ride. You have to have an ID. I couldn't keep an ID on me. People were stealing my wallet, stealing my bag, stealing my purse. The final time I lost it, anything that I had, I left at a friend's house. That's when I ended up going to jail. So when I got out of jail, tried to contact her, they didn't even have all the stuff anymore. I didn't know where anything of mine was. And you couldn't just carry it on you because, like I said, people will take it. They'll take it. My ex took my ID once. When I went to jail, he took my wallet, my ID. Who knows what he did with it? They'll find somebody that like looks similar to you and have them use your ID to do stuff. Rent a hotel, a car, whatever. It's really hard being homeless. People don't understand, even addiction or not, there are veterans out there that are homeless. There are people that struggle with mental health that can't afford their medication. Stuff is expensive and it's just going up. There are so many people that lost their homes or lost their job and their homes, or just couldn't afford to pay for their homes anymore because of inflation. Every city is different, but if you really research it, there are some cities that are really struggling with homelessness, and it's not all addicts. It's really not. I just feel bad for anyone that's going through it. That's why when I share my story, I always talk about the roof over my head. Having a roof over my head was very important to me. I knew when I got out of jail, I had to have that. That was the one thing I did not have in the past. Besides changing people, places, and things, I needed a roof over my head. I knew that I couldn't do anything without that. I knew I had to have my sobriety, got clean. Then when I was in jail, I asked for help, and sober living was that roof over my head. And then I just went from there. You save money, work on your credit. I really just would ask people what to do next. How did you get this? How did you get that? I don't know what to do. How do I fix this? That's just how I got to where I'm at today. So I'm very grateful to be where I'm at, very grateful to have a roof over my head and not have to stress about the things that I used to stress about before. It's just a different kind of stress. You know, oh, I got to pay my utility bill or my rent or my water bill. That's just so different than, where am I going to sleep tonight? Am I going to be safe? Is somebody going to take me away? Is somebody going to do something to me? Am I going to be able to eat, sleep? There were times that I've made a couple of shorts about it. I would keep a bottle of water, wipes, or toilet paper to try to clean myself. If I could get to a gas station bathroom, I would wash up there, like a Walmart bathroom. But I started getting scared going into Walmart too often because they always have people following you around. I didn't know if they were going to get me for like loitering or anything like that, because you're not buying anything. You got to be careful because certain places will do that. But I just learned different things to do to survive, really. There were some times that me and a friend or me and someone would share a hotel room, or me and two other people, or there'd be a group of us in a hotel room. We would all pitch in. Now, this was years ago, so the hotel rooms, like the trap hotels, the cheap hotels, were like 50, 60 bucks. But you guys, those hotels were very scary. They were the kind of hotels that literally every hotel room was a trap. There was different dealing going on, or, you know, like dates, different things going on in each room. There are hotels out there that you just know that that's the trap hotel. You know, if you go to that hotel, any of those rooms, or sometimes people will be standing outside, ask you if you need anything, you good. There's a lot of hotels out there like that. There was another hotel when I I shared this story. They had women working out of these hotels. It's just very, very scary. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're out of town and go to a hotel, be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're not at a place that's going to put you in a bad situation. My main focus the whole time I was out there was not being sick. So that's where all my energy went to, all my money went to. And it did make a difference because I would still be sick all the time. So it was just a horrible way to live. Horrible. So take it from me. If you're thinking about getting clean, just do it. If you're scared to do it, just do it. Just do it. Just try it, because it does get better, and it's way better than living that crazy life. That crazy life is not worth it. I just wanted to share a little bit of what life was like when I was out there, homeless, the struggles, and to let you guys know that recovery is possible. Does it get hard sometimes? Yes, but you just got to keep going, guys. I say this all the time. Just keep going. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you guys.